kitchen at the Blue OK, and today I want to show you how to make white chocolate. I actually call this recipe white chocolate fudge because it's a little bit on the chewy side, and I like to add ingredients to it like dried pistachios or dried fruits. This recipe is great for white chocolate lovers who have not been able to find raw white chocolate in the raw food world. So this is just a fantastic recipe, and what we'll want to have on hand is cacao butter, which has been melted down either in the double boiling method or a warm water bath or in the dehydrator. And you'll want to have some light agave nectar on hand. The darker agave tends to color the chocolate, so if you want it to come out nice and white, I recommend a lighter agave. About a half cup of soaked cashews, a little bit of sea salt, and some vanilla bean. You can either use, there's a vanilla bean powder that you can get, or you can just buy a whole vanilla bean and scrape out the inside. It puts little brown flecks into your white chocolate and gives it a delicious vanilla richness, but it doesn't color the chocolate like vanilla extract will. And most of what makes white chocolate white is just that cacao butter and a bunch of cream. So this recipe is taking out that cream and refined sugar and using light agave, cashew, and real vanilla extract or real vanilla bean. The other things you'll want to have on hand are some dried berries or nuts or cacao nibs to put into your white chocolate fudge. And it is actually fine to use fresh berries, fresh raspberries or fresh cherries if you were going to eat the white chocolate that day, serve it and eat it that day. But if you're going to refrigerate it and keep it around for a while, eventually those berries will break down inside the chocolate, so it's better to use dried or dehydrated berries. So just be mindful of that when you make your chocolate. And we'll begin. You're going to take the white chocolate or the cacao butter and put it into your blender, and then add that light agave nectar, half cup of each so far. And then you're going to add that half cup of soaked cashews and a little bit of sea salt in this recipe to bring out the flavor of the nuts, the flavor of the cacao butter, which is it's a delicious flavor. I always describe it as a kind of liqueur-like flavor. It's very rich and wonderful. Then you're just going to scrape out the vanilla bean into your blender here. And you want to get some of those little flecks into the blender. And then you'll go ahead and start blending. And you want to get this into a nice smooth consistency. So you're going to start out on low, but you're going to eventually use a high-speed blender and kick it on to that high speed and really break it down so it's nice and creamy. So you're going to blend it for long enough that you get the little pieces of cashew blended in very well, and it should be a creamy consistency. You should be able to see it. It should be pourable. And you don't want to blend it for too long or you'll get too much heat in the blender and your raw chocolate will actually start to cook. It won't be raw anymore. But if you blend it just about that amount of time, and it should come out just fine. So then what you're going to do is take a mold that I'm using a bread pan today. You can use any kind of square or rectangular container, and I line it with either parchment paper or wax paper so that you can pull it right out and cut it into squares to make a nice fudge shape. So you're just going to pour it right in there. And it's at this point that I add into the chocolate whatever I'm going to put into it. So for this batch, we're going to use a little bit of fresh, or rather dried cherries, and I'm going to do a few goji berries in this batch as well. I just love the nutritional value of goji berries, and they have a little bit of a bitter aftertaste, a strong, tangy, sort of tart, bitter aftertaste that is actually a nice balance to how sweet the white chocolate is. So those are two of my favorite things to put into the white chocolate. Also raspberries for that same reason, that kind of tart flavor. You can also do blackberry or blueberry, especially if you like your chocolate on the sweeter side. And so all you're going to do is mix those berries in so that each bite that you cut from the square gets a nice piece of goji and cherry in it. So we're going to go ahead and put this in the refrigerator, and after about an hour or two, we'll come back and I'll just show you how to pop this out and cut it into squares and serve your white chocolate fudge. Hi, I'm back, and I have my refrigerated white chocolate here, and what we're going to do now is just pull this whole piece of wax paper out of the dish and set that aside. And you can peel the sides down a little bit. You might have some sticking to it. That's fine. And then all you're going to do is take your knife and cut into the white chocolate fudge. And it'll be a little chewier. The longer you refrigerate it, or sometimes you can even freeze it, you'll get a little bit smoother of a cut. And what you're going to be doing is just finding a shape that's going to work for you. A nice square shape is what I usually go for, but you could actually cut this into triangles. You could cut it into circles. You can really do whatever you want with it. You'll see that the white chocolate pieces come out beautiful. You can just see all the berries inside that we've put in. We've put cherries and goji berries, and some batches, as I mentioned, I'll put in blueberries or blackberries. And you can even see little vanilla flecks. So what you're going to do is take those squares and just put them right on a plate, and you'll have beautiful pieces of raw chocolate fudge. Here's a couple examples of other things that I've done with my white chocolate. This is a raspberry white chocolate fudge, and these are little white chocolates I poured into molds. This one has a little goji powder in it. This one's a white and dark chocolate swirl. I also like to swirl the dark chocolate into molds, and you get this really lovely combination of the white and dark chocolate. So really, this is just your recipe to play with now, and I hope that you enjoy making this white chocolate and experimenting with what your favorite things to put in it are. I would love to hear your comments, any questions that you have, and please enjoy the chocolate. Bon appetit.